There we are now after mash out. You can see the wort, you might pick it out, is quite clear. Anyway, don't worry about these little bits you can see. The astringency people talk about from grain is the husk. Now mostly in a decent crush, most of your husks should be nearly intact, maybe in half. And you need a lot for it to affect your beer. Even if that was husk, there you're not even going to taste it in the boil. And I know a lot of people crush finer, and that's a risk you take. They say, you know, they get a couple of points of efficiency more or whatever, but that's, you know, it's up to you. It'd be rare to get a boil with little bits of husk in there and actually taste it in it. You'd have to have a lot to get any astringency from the husk. This is the worst bit of any of these sort of systems, whether it be Brewmeister, ROBOBREW, what's the other one? Grainfather. It's pulling the basket out. So I'll turn the pump off. I'll get rid of this. Fit the handle. Can you see that? It's a little bit tricky. Push it in one side as far as you can. Sometimes you have to stretch it a little bit and it just pops in there. It just hangs there. You do have to be careful. Now I've got this on a milk crate just to raise it off the ground a little bit, and it makes it easy to film and use, you know, for me. Pulling it out is going to be hard for me. I haven't practiced. I should have practiced. I haven't practiced with this new design, so I'm sort of winging it here. But I'm going to stand on a milk crate just to give me that little bit extra height. But that, you just got to be careful whichever way you do it. Okay, I haven't tried this. I should have practiced it. Let's go. Just try to be careful. It's going to be a little bit heavy. You can let it drain a bit if you like. Pull it out. Twist. Well, that was extremely easy. That's a lot easier than the last ROBOBREW or the other brew where you had the little stand and you had to wiggle it in. That was a pain. That was extremely easy. That's the first time I've ever done that. Cool. Again, now the same as all the other systems, you have to heat up water somewhere else. You could try sparging with cold water. It's not really the done thing. So you heat up water to 80 degrees or something like that. By the time you get it in there, it's going to drop if you're worried about astringency again. I haven't measured out my sparge water. I know I've got enough there to use. I don't know how much I'm going to need. I used 18 litres, so I'm probably going to have to use about 14 litres. I'm not sure. I haven't tested, as I said earlier, the 29 litre mark, which is about what I fill to on my other ROBOBREW. But I'll see how I go. I know how much 14 litres is going to be there, and I'll add it, and I'll see where we are on the level of the ROBOBREW, you know, whether it says 29 litres or whatever. Hope that's not too confusing. But it's just about ready to sparge. I'll just show you. The trouble with yakking, if I can't quite see the grain there, but if it is just below that screen, it's about time now to start sparging. And I just add a couple of litres at a time, wait till it drains down a bit, add another couple of litres, wait till it drains down a bit. I have my jug here, my hot sparge water. It's at 29 litres there. So it's 14 off that, down to 15 litres. As you've seen other videos I've done, I've just had a whole pot with 14 or 15 litres in and just scoop it in, and I don't pour the whole thing in at once. And we'll just... You've got the screen there, so you don't need any other colander or whatever you've seen me use in other systems. We'll just wait for that to drain through, keep going. As I said, I'll add 7 of these. We'll see where we're at. And here's the last 2 litres for the sparge. I think. We'll let this run through and we'll see what level we're at. there is a lot less dead space. I measured the dead space roughly yesterday in this model, and I had about 1200 milliliters, you know, just over a litre, 1.2 litres, and in my first ROBOBREW it was like 3.3 litres. Now I haven't adjusted the recipe at all, so I normally get 19-20 litres out of a batch. So, you know, I'm probably looking at 22 litres out of this, maybe 23. Probably not 23, but we'll see how we go. Now I'm sparging. I'm just going to bump that up. I'm not going to put it right on boiling just yet, but even something like that. And so we'll be way closer to boiling once I finish the sparge. Both elements are on now. So we've drained all through there. We're still going down the bottom. I don't know if I can get the camera in there. Alright, stop draining. I can't hear it. What I usually do in my old ROBOBREW is put it in a bucket, the tube, because if you sometimes you haven't got as much patience as I've had today to make it stop dripping. So sometimes it can be still going drip, drip, drip. You put it in a bucket. That way, if you need any more, you can collect more. I mean, you've got the little bit in the bottom. Or, instead of putting it on the top and sparging through it again, you can just sparge in the bucket. Pour some more water on top, let it sparge a little bit, top it up. Enough yakking. Enough yakking. Get this off. Will it fit in the bucket with the legs on it? Yes, it will. Not properly. Well, there you go. I can't put it in that bucket. Anyway. Okay, so it says we're at about 29. If you can pick that up. I can't see the 29 mark. But we're right on 29, I reckon. Now, that's what I guessed. So even though we were out, I think the markings are way out, down lower. When you're at the top here at the 29 litre mark, I reckon they're about spot on. They're pretty bloody close. Because that's what I'd usually get out of using the same amount of water in the other ROBOBREW, which I've triple checked for. So now if you don't want those little bits of endosperm or whatever, grain and stuff in there, you can just scoop it out like that. It's not going to hurt at all. It's also not going to hurt the beer if you leave it there. But since it was floating on top, get rid of it, eh? It's not much. You can pump through that siphon if you want, that strainer if you like, to just get it really clear, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. I like to use an anti-foam. This is like a generic brand of foam cap from Ampros. They sell yeast nutrients. What else do I get? My PVPP from them too. I can get a little bit cheaper than from the brew shops and a bigger amount. So for a batch like this size, I'll probably put in about that. You should count, but it's nearly a full squirter full. That'll just stop it foaming over. It also helps with the ferment too. It'll stop the krausen getting too insane on you. And just for people that want to, you can put that on there like that. This tube's probably a little bit long. Do that and turn the pump on. And that'll help strain any other bits out too if you're worried about it. I don't think you do need to be worried about it. But, you know, it's not going to hurt. Don't leave something like this unattended unless you have a pipe that's the proper size, because that could easily flick out and then you've lost all your good beer. But she looks nice and clear. The pump on will help stir it up a little bit too, and I'll take a reading in a second, see where we are for pre-boil. Time to bump it up to the boil, and I usually go 104 on my other ROBOBREW, and that is 219 I usually set it to. We'll see how we go. The pump's pulled a little bit of junk out, Again, nothing, that would not affect the brew at all. But, you know, if you want that little extra stuff out, you can do it. I need to get a bigger bucket. Although, you know, that's rinsed wort, so it's not going to be too strong. You're not really going to miss much. But I just thought I'd show you how much extra is leaking out. I've just had a look, and using this is the old profile. I don't have a new profile for this ROBOBREW yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same. I'm supposed to be pre-boil about 1.043. So I'm just going to take a sample, although I should really stir it up a bit more, but we'll see how we go with the first test. And put your finger over it and take it easy, otherwise it spurts everywhere like that. See? You do have to be careful with this because they'll squirt. Turn it over, there we go. Now put that in the ice. Cool. I'm 2 points up. There we go, to 1045. Maybe even a little bit higher. Okay, there's a difference. We just hit the boil. Just started to boil at 104 and it turned off. So I'm going to hit it up another couple of degrees. 107. That's 225 I'm at F. Anyways, we're waiting for this to come back up to the boil because it turned off at 104. It wasn't quite hot enough. 12 grams of Magnum. They're about 13% AA. That means that should get this to about 17 IBUs for a 60-minute boil. And that's to start with. I will do a big, maybe a late addition and a flameout or just a flameout hop. I haven't decided yet. Which will raise it up another couple of IBUs. And there'll be a bit of perceivable bitterness. So I'm not going to go into that now. Yeah, so wait for it to come to the boil. We'll start our 60-minute timer with 12 grams of Magnum. So we're just about at the boil again. I should have a spoon ready. Sometimes you can. Some people will scrape that off. That's up to you. Others say it helps the beer. Others say it doesn't help the beer. Yours might look a little bit different if you haven't used firm cap too. Firm cap sort of makes it go a bit different. But it does save worry a boil over. There we go, I'll just leave this a little bit longer. I really should insulate this pot. Well and truly. I was going to just throw the hops in because I was going to use their new counterflow chiller, but I just haven't got the right parts here at the moment to set it up properly. So I'm probably going to use my plate chiller unless I can get it done in the next hour, fix up the counterflow. So I'm going to use a basket because you don't want the hops going through your plate chiller. Now it looks like I'm going to have to, this will take the temperature down a bit. I can't hang it there, so I'm going to have to clip it to the side. So there goes the 12 grams of Magnum. Get them in there. Whack there on the side. and we'll start our timer. Might actually move it over here where it was boiling a little bit harder. There you go. We're just 5 minutes into the boil now. You can see it's boiling away nicely. Alright, we're still here in the boil. It's only probably got about 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go. I just thought I'd show you, this is another version of the same malt base, slightly different hops I'm going to use. It's a great beer actually. The keg just blew. The wife's been drinking it. I went to go and get, I'll show them a nice full glass, and the keg just blew in the that's all I got. But this one had slightly different hops. It had Amarillo, Cascade and Citra, I think. This one will probably have Mosaic, Cascade and Citra. Close. But anyway, cheers. Since really the important bit's done, all we're doing is boiling. I'm not going to use their chiller. Grab it. I'm not going to use this chiller today because I don't have the correct size hoses for it. The beer ones I do, the hose ones, the water ones I don't. I have to try and get some fittings for it, so I can't use the new one today, which I'm disappointed about. Because if everyone's seen me use my old one, I built one of these years ago. Magic of cameras. This one. And I loved it. It was just a bit too short. It was a 3 metre pole. If I had it made at 6 metres or something, it would have been perfect. I think this one looks longer. I might be wrong. But I'm willing to give it a bash. I really enjoy using those sort of chillers. Now, I was going to use the one that came with it, the stainless steel one you've seen before, except I'm in a hurry. I've got to go and pick up the daughter from school, so I'm going to use my plate chiller today. Anyway, what went wrong today? Nothing much that wasn't my fault. The mash temp, striking temp could have been hotter. I'll adjust that on in the Beersmith profile so it starts a little bit warmer for you. The temperature loss in the outer tube, pump tube, that's pretty regular in all these sort of systems, whether it be 1 vessel, 2 vessel, 3 vessel. If you've got a home system and you've got a pipe that goes, you know, especially if it's steel like this, it loses a lot of heat. So you've just got to adjust that for your mash temp. So you might be 1 or 2 degrees hotter down the bottom. And the boil temp. During the boil, last I used to set it at 104 in my old ROBOBREW. This one I have to go a little bit higher because this one still boils at 104. It's reading 104 now and it's boiling away, but it turns off at 104. So above that, I've got it at 110 now, and you know it's actually sitting at 104 like I just said, but it's boiling fine. Besides that, I never had any issues with efficiency. I never did anything special. I never stirred. I never used rice hulls. I never mashed for 90 minutes. I think it was just over an hour. It was probably 70 minutes, but that wasn't planned. That was me. Every time I got to move the camera, it takes time, and I was mucking around with the strike temp because I got it wrong slightly. But besides that, no, it's fine. Really nice. In the next couple of vids, I will look into step mashing. It's a little bit hard on these machines still, even though you've got the pump. And I don't often do step mashing, but I'm going to concentrate a little bit more on pH. And when you're doing that, you really want to step mash. I'll go into that further. So that's about it. I'll show you footage of what's going on now, but all it is adding my flavour hops and cooling it. And they'll be in the fermenter. We're nearly up to the last 5 minutes. I'm going to put an addition in. Before that happens, just before that 5 minutes happens, I usually pull out the basket and because these 60 minute hops have done their duty. They're finished. So I'll pull these out just to get them out of the way, and I'm going to use a bag for the last hops, because as you can see, these nets, they can get clogged with a bit of junk. So I like my flavour hops because they're not in the boil for very long, to go into a new bag or a new, if you had 2 of these, you could use another one of these, but I don't. Okay, because those oils from those hops are in that wort. They'll continue, if there is any bitterness in there, left in them at all, to continue bittering. Then I just get a bag. This is a grain bag rather than a hop sock. Those hop socks are crap, I reckon. So I use grain bags. They're a bit coarser. Now you don't want it to go sitting right on the bottom while the elements are still on. There's nothing in it yet, but there will be soon. About 5 minutes of the boil to go. 10 grams of Cascade, 10 grams of Citra, and 10 grams of Mosaic in this one. In the bag. The mix up. Nearly forgot the Werflock. 5 minutes to go. I chucked the Werflock in too. Now you only really need a half. I'm not sure I've got any halves in here. No, I'll just use a whole one today. Get it in there. I'm not going to use PVPP today. I'll just use the stuff that's easy to get for everyone else. Alright, here we go at flameout. I'm just going to leave that boiling till as soon as I get these hops in, I'm going to turn it off. I've gone 10 grams of Cascade, 10 grams of Citra, and I accidentally, on purpose, went 20 grams of Mosaic. So there's 40 grams in there for flameout. Just make sure they're broken up now, just turn that heat off. Both elements can go off. Give that a bit of a stir. Like that. I'm not going to bother whirlpooling today. And I'm just going to whack a little bit of foil over there. Probably not needed, but it won't hurt either. Now I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes and then chill. Okay, I've only just turned it on. You've only got 5 minutes in no time. The groundwater here is very cold at this time of year. We're going in just over 20, 21. I can probably back it off just a touch. That'll bring it down to... I'm not rehydrating, so it's best to pitch just over 20 when you're pitching dry. This will be chilled in no time, seriously. Not 5 minutes. That's just the old Keg King plate chiller. We are seriously cutting through this fast today. We're just under 19. Should speed it up again. But as you can see, we're not doing too bad as it is. There's 18 litres done already, which is why that's nearly 5 gallons. There's 5 gallons done already. That's less than 5 minutes. I'll have a look at the timestamps on the video if I can figure out how to do it and tell you how fast it was, but it's easily under 5 minutes. All I did just before when I stopped the camera was go and change the buckets over, because I collect it. Now that one's full, but it comes out just before it's full. It's usually about 2 buckets worth at this time of year of water, maybe a little bit more, so we must be nearly done. Oh, yeah, we're running out now. Where are we at? 21, nearly 22 litres, nearly 6 gallon. And there'll still be a fair bit in the chiller. So I was about right when I suggested 22 litres. We were aiming for 48. There we go there. I went and got a bit overboard. That came out of the chiller. The chillers do hold a bit. You can see all the Werflock, or the proteins and whatever it is doing their thing. I only need a drop for the refrac. Cheers here. Now, what did I say we wanted? It was 48. I was estimated it was 43, we got 45. So, should have at least got what we estimated. Yep, 40, over 49, nearly 50, 10, it's about 1049 we'll say, we'll settle at that. And about, what's that, 10, 11, 12 point, about 12.8 bricks. All that picks it up. I'm going to pitch US05. I love these 15 gram packs from Keg King. They're just, you know, a little bit more than the other packs you get. And so sometimes I pitch 2 packs of the other ones, but when I got these ones I only use 1. They also sell kilo blocks now, I think. Is it kilo or half kilo? Anyway, you can have a look on their website. Done and dusted. Old school. My stainless fermenter's dirty, my fermentosaurus is dirty. The old school. My refrac always tends to read out compared to my hydro once we get above sort of 1040. A couple of points. So this one's saying it's probably what, nearly 51 there. It's a bit hard to see on the camera. Just having a clean up, I thought I'd chuck this on the end as well. There really isn't much left. I don't know, whatever you reckon that is. Probably just over a litre, as I said before. I don't know if I'm holding that very straight, but it's about 1200. Although, see that mark there? That's where my jug actually weighs at 1 litre. So it's probably about 1200. And that's all we've got in there. Which is nothing. Holly, what are you doing throwing rocks everywhere? Say bye. So this is what I'll do for cleanup. The same as I do for my other ROBOBREW, as I fill it up with the water, and that's the water I've collected from my chiller. Heat it up, it's not quite hot yet. I put everything inside, don't drop everything inside, you know, place everything inside. Because these chillers are heavy if you're going to use them, you don't want to drop it in. But it's probably obvious. Even my thermometer goes in there fine, you can see down the bottom there. Now I'll heat this up a bit hotter, I don't know, 60 degrees or 70 degrees, something like that. Put some sodium bicarbonate in it. And just let it go for maybe an hour, probably not even that long. And then give it a rinse. I could just let it sit then. I could turn the pump off and let it sit overnight. As long as I clean it in the morning. Sodium bicarbonate doesn't have much of a lifespan. Probably about 6 hours or something. So that'll be fine till the morning. But if I ended up putting the lid on and leaving it for days, you know, it turns back into water. And since it's not sealed, you know, you could possibly get mould or something like that. But besides that, it gives it a good clean. So yeah, it's late at night now. I'll put some sodium bicarbonate in, let it go. I'll probably just come out, turn it off, and give it all a rinse in the morning. Cheers. Cheers.